And welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review, and this is ST Reborn, Sentinels Reborn from Sentinels Reborn. Now, ST Reborn is basically free to play, been playing for a year, and has been following my Pillars guide, and really just kind of needs to know how he's doing in arena ships, kind of what maybe tweaks in arena and ships to do, and then what next. That's kind of a big question for a lot of people is, where should I go next? What should I be focused on? And today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 7 crew members to focus on for ships, and then I'm going to give you 10 side projects / pillar projects that you're going to work on, and they're going to help you with arena and every other area of the game. And so I'm going to suggest a new arena team that you can use the team you're using, but there's also an arena team I'm going to suggest that's maybe not quite ready to be thrown in there, but you might want to try it and see how well it does in comparison to the current arena team you have. I'm super excited about these suggestions and hope that you find more success in arena as we go on it. Now we're going to do ships first because you actually do very well in ships for free to play. You're in the top 50, so that's phenomenal. You're using Akbar. I actually recommend Akbar's Home 1, so that's really great. You're using Biggs and TIE Advanced in the front, and you're using Silencer. So I'm actually going to recommend those 3 ships that you have in the front. They're your strongest 3 ships once I looked at your inventory. So keep using them. Now, the first 3 characters I'm going to suggest you continue to develop are just those. That's right. Going to be, Admiral Akbar, of course, keep developing Kylo Ren Unmasked, Biggs, and Darth Vader. Those 4 guys in your initial, 3 plus your capital ship lineup need to continue to be developed, because if you don't continue to develop them, you're going to fall behind in your arena. And this is where you're getting crystals now. They've actually expanded crystals to top 50. So you're getting a crystal resource from this particular spot. So don't stop investing in those guys at all. So you've got some other crew members. When we go in to your inventory, we do find that there is a number of ships, and you are brand new at ships. I mean, just unlocked recently, not too long ago. And so, you don't have a ton of the guys, crew members leveled up or their ships leveled up. I mean, there's characters like Poe Dameron that you haven't even started focusing on, or Sunfax. So there's a lot of opportunity here, but that's okay. Like I said, for free to play for a year, you're doing really well. The best for the back lineup that I could find, and you can have 3 ships coming in, I believe, would be first off the Scimitar. It's going to come in pretty quickly because your Home 1's going to go before the other guys' capital ships go, and it's going to allow for you to bring the Scimitar in, and you're going to be able to throw that retribution onto Biggs and put everybody else under stealth. That means your Silencer and TIE Advanced are going to get 30% more offense. That is a ridiculous amount of damage that those 2 guys are going to be able to start putting out. And hopefully your first reinforcement comes in before you've lost anyone. But either way, one of your attackers will probably be alive, and that extra offense is going to make a definitive difference. The second is your Phantom 2. Obviously, you worked on Phoenix first, like I tell most people, and so Path of Least Resistance, these ships, Ghost or Phantom 2, should be looked at. Well, the Phantom 2 is really the MVP of those 2 ships, and you don't have to run Ghost just because you're running Phantom 2. You can break them up, use just the Phantom 2, and you're going to want to get the reinforcement completely and utterly maxed out. That's going to be really, really important, because once maxed out, this is the #1 reinforcement you need. You have to max this out before any other ship, because what happens is it allows you to bring in a second ship immediately thereafter, which will allow for you to bring in the First Order TIE Pilot or Biston's U-Wing. Currently, First Order TIE Pilot will be the Path of Least Resistance, and the reason is he has 1 crew member versus 2. He applies target lock and does a massive amount of damage, plus with strafe, plus target lock on his basic. So this is a great ship that you can bring in to kind of help finish clearing out the opponents before they get their ultimate off or whatnot. Once you have tried this composition out, if you feel like there's a particular weakness, hit me up and let me know what you feel like that weakness is, and I'll try to help with your roster to figure out what you have that can counter it. But currently, those are the ships that are the most powerful that I believe can give you the best luck, and the only one you need reinforcements on right now that's most important is the Phantom 2. And then for the other ships, your TIE Advanced being in the front, you're going to want to max out his deadly accuracy. This should be the most important basic of all of them. So all your Omegas should be saved for this. Max this out, because he does ridiculous damage once this is maxed out, and you need him to. He's in your front line, so you want him to do a lot of damage. The same is true with the TIE Silencer. You want to max out his basic. It not only stuns, but it does a lot of damage once maxed out. Now, I know you can't get past a certain level because of your character, so you're just going to have to watch that. Pay attention to as you're gearing characters up. As soon as you pop a new character on or more ability mats on or something, go look at your ship to see if there's any development that has opened up and is allowing you to continue to progress. But those ships should really treat you really well in ships, and I think it's going to help you. And I'm not sure what you have in your back lineup now, but that should do you really, really well. Now, as far as arena goes, your Phoenix is your most powerful group. I mean, really the top row is all Phoenix except for Boba Fett. So it makes sense that's who you're running and that's why. But I actually want to suggest to you another team, and we're going to have some fun. The first character, which you've done really nothing with, he's already 5 stars, and that is Rex. He's actually a very easy farm now. You can get him pretty quickly. You only need 2 more stars, and you can get him level 85. Now, why he's the best leader? For a couple of reasons. First, he is easy to gear. Any character that is easy to get up in gear is really important. So like Emperor Palpatine, Darth Vader, Rex, those are all like super easy characters to gear. So they're characters you should be putting energy into because they're easier for you to get up to a high level of gear to be competitive. Well, Rex is one of the easiest gears in the game, at least to gear 9, super easy. And then past that, he's actually easier than the rest as far as getting to gear 10 and 11. So great leader. He's going to help. The second reason is he's going to help with mods. So you may have mediocre or subpar mods because you're free to play and you don't have a whole lot of good mods. He is going to kind of equalize the field by giving you all the turn meter that you can't get from speed secondaries on your mods. It's not to say you shouldn't focus on mods or focus on speed secondaries. You always should for the competitive advantage, but he is going to help level the playing field in arena by giving you that extra turn meter every time that you take a crit. So super important, and like I said, easy to gear. So Rex is a leader. Plus, the team I'm about to suggest, I literally faced 3 or 4 of these teams today in my top 10. So this team 100% is viable in your leaderboard. So Rex as the lead. And then when we look at Sith, you actually have 2 of the 3 the Sith triumvirate. You have Darth Nihilus and Darth Sion. And absolutely, Darth Nihilus and Darth Sion at 4 stars are viable. They're at gear 7, which is not viable for arena, except for where you're at. Your characters are all gear 8 anyway, so you don't have a whole lot to go to get them equally as good as your current team. So if you put them in your favorites and put some gear into them over the next 2 weeks to a month, you should have them arena viable for where you're at in arena pretty quickly within a couple of weeks to a month. And they're in-game characters you're going to love. Now, I know they're not a part of the Pillars system, but sometimes you have to make exceptions to the rule. And I'm giving you permission, brother, to make exceptions to the rule. These 2 guys are absolutely amazing together. They both have a Zeta that once you are able to get Zetas and put Zetas on your characters are really, really powerful Zetas. They're going to help in winning teams and things like that. And so Darth Nihilus and Darth Sion would be underneath Rex, and they're both kind of squishy right now, but they're tankier than most characters at their star and gear level. So if you were to look at a character's star and gear level that's identical to them, they're going to have more health and protection than the majority of the characters at their same rate. And then for the last 2 slots, I recommend Grand Admiral Thrawn in the 4th slot, and you are going to be able to get him 7 stars as soon as he comes back around the second time. When he comes back around for you, that second time for you, you'll be able to get him to the 7-star rate since your Phoenix are basically there. And once he's 7 stars and you get him up a little bit higher on gear and finish off his abilities, he is going to make this team with Rex and Darth Nihilus and Sion absolutely amazing. And then the last character that's going to really make this team tick, that's right, a 5-star, totally viable at 5-star, Mother Talzin. You want to max her abilities out. You do not need any Zetas on her whatsoever. Just max her abilities out. Put some decent mods on her, one of your top 5 best sets, and then gear her up, and that's it. She, under Rex, is going to just slowly chew the opponent down from the inside out, and she's devastating. And you've got her as a horrible tool to use against the team, and the team is going to struggle against her. So they're going to focus on killing her. While they're killing her, your Scion is protected because they're not trying to hit your Scion, they're trying to hit your Mother Talzin. But he's taunting at times because he's putting pain down, which is distracting them from Mother Talzin, which gives your Mother Talzin time to do what she needs to do. But if they do focus on Mother Talzin, then you got your Darth Nihilus increasing their cooldowns, dispelling on his basic, and eventually annihilating. So they got to worry about him. But everyone that they're trying to hit, Rex is going faster and speeding up the whole team, making everyone faster and faster. And then you got Thrawn over there, which you can key fracture certain characters, which totally throws a wrench in what they're trying to do. So again, this team, literally, I face it in Arena every single day in the top 10, top 5, and it's a really, really great team. It's easily one of the top 3 best teams in the game right now. But of course, it does depend on having solid mods and gearing up the characters. And then lastly, their abilities. You need all of their abilities at a minimum maxed out Omega wise. So putting in all the Omegas onto all of the abilities. Start with their basics because they're going to use their basics a whole lot. But with Mother Talzin very specifically, you max out Dark Magic first, and then you can move to the I-Core Lightning. So that is the Arena team that I would suggest, and there's now 5 characters you got to focus on. Rex, who is easy to gear, Scion and Nihilus, Thrawn, and Mother Talzin. Now, Thrawn, Mother Talzin, Scion, and Nihilus are 4 overpowered characters usable in every area of the game, so you're not going to regret any of them, including Rex. So you've got 7 crew members now on your ships. You got 5 from Rex, or 5 from Arena that you're going to need to focus on. And then we also have a couple of side projects I think that you should look at from the Rebels and from the Empire. So let's look at Rebels. Now, all in all, your Rebels are looking pretty good for where you're at after a year, but I do recommend Baze Malbus and Chirrut Imwe. Now, Baze and Chirrut are at Gear 1, and it looks like you've got nothing into Chirrut, but you've got Baze you're at least trying to get the stars for. Now, the reason why I suggest these 2 guys as kind of side projects is you're going to need these guys eventually in the light side territory battles. They're actually required, at least Rogue One is required, and they're the 2 best Rogue One characters in the game. But they're also going to help you with a number of events that you're going to have to do against the Empire, and they're going to help you with they're great plug and play characters for Arena down the road and whatnot. So Baze Malbus and Chirrut Imwe are the 2 Rebels I would consider as side projects that you probably want to start trying to chew on and work on, especially because Baze is really hard to gear, takes him a while, and Chirrut not as bad, but they're going to take a while, so you might as well start trying to put some gear on them passively. Now let's move to Empire. And as far as Empire goes, your top row minus Royal Guard is really the focus. And I know that you're going to passively start working on Grand Moff Tarkin for his Executrix, because that's a great ship as well. So you can have 2 capital ships to work on over time. And then TIE Fighter Pilot is a ship you might want to use. And so, of course, you're going to continue to develop that pilot as well. But the most important in this list are going to be your top 3, which is Darth Vader, Emperor Palpatine, and Grand Admiral Thrawn, because those are the 3 most powerful characters in the Empire lineup that you have. And so those are the ones you're going to want to focus on. Grand Admiral Thrawn will be 7 stars soon for you, I hope. And so you just need to gear them up. Now, what's really cool is Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine are actually pretty decently easy gears in comparison to all the other characters. And so you should be able to continue to develop those characters for an Empire team. Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine are absolutely amazing together on those teams. The only character that I see, other than the top 3, Grand Admiral Thrawn, Palpatine, and Vader, that you should work on is going to be Death Trooper. Now, the reason why I'm suggesting him is not for an Imperial Troopers team. You're not ready for an Imperial Troopers team yet, but because he's one of the best dark side characters in the game for one reason alone, and that is Terminate. Literally, his ability to put Death Mark up and then clean out a character makes him equivalent to Darth Nihilus. Him and Darth Nihilus are equally as good. He also has this Death Trooper Grenade, which increases cooldowns, just like Darth Nihilus has a cooldown increase. And then, of course, he can stun on his basic. He can actually daze he's amazing in territory battles, but you want him to inflict daze on rebels because then they won't counter. And in territory battles, you notice there's a lot of counters, and that's what eats up your team and kills you. He's going to prevent that by shooting a couple of times on a rebel and dazing them. And if daze applies the first time, then they get stunned. So it's really cool. It's an amazing ability. And like I said, Death Trooper, one of the best Darkside characters in the entire game. He's on literally the same playing field as Darth Nihilus. And so if I'm going to recommend Darth Nihilus, I'm definitely going to recommend Death Trooper. But you see, Death Trooper, 6 stars, gear level 1. So you're going to have to work on him for sure. He's pretty low, but he is like a hidden gem. So Chirrut and Baze, Death Trooper, Darth Vader, Emperor Palpatine, and Thrawn. Other than that, you're looking really good. You've got now an alternate team for Arena. You Rex, Scion, Nihilus, Thrawn, and Mother Talzin. If you happen to be running into a ton of other teams that are exactly like yours, the Phoenix squads, you could substitute, instead of Mother Talzin, you could substitute in Death Trooper, and he's going to give you that real hyper competitive advantage over the Phoenix. And Mother Talzin is less effective against Phoenix, and so if you are facing that, he would be the great substitution for Mother Talzin, and it will give you that daze and stun you really need against the other Phoenix teams. So hopefully this gives you focus on ships, crew members, the arena, an alternate team to worry about, some extra characters in Rebels and Empire to focus on. But I know you're, basically free to play after a year, but you've done really, really well. And if you have other questions, you can hit me up, privately on Discord. I'm happy to, on one-on-one, talk about any other strategies or suggestions for your lineup. As always, if you have any ideas for them, leave them in the comments down below, and keep your gaming on. Warrior out.